Assalamu alaikum, dear students and dear viewers. As you know, the lockdown period has been extended to the 30th of June 2020. As such, we need to focus on the online and the offline classes. Today we are in the class 11th and we are in the chapter 6th, that is the judiciary. As you know, the judiciary or the Bill of Rights or the function of the Supreme Court and the judicial review we have borrowed from the US Constitution and has been placed in the Part 3rd of the Indian Constitution. Under the provisions of this Bill of Rights, we have the independent judiciary, or what we call generally we call the rule of law. The rule of law generally refers to the authority and the influence of the law in the society. We know the constraints upon the behavior and especially on the behavior of the government officials or on the organs of the government. The phrase which was discussed in the 16th century, later this phrase was popularized in the 19th century by the A.V. Dicey, the British lawmaker or the British jurist, in which he discussed what the law is. The rule of law implies every citizen is subject to the law. That this is in oppose or this is in contrast to that the ruler is above the law. So the ruler as well as the ruled, both the ruler as well as the ruled are subject to the law. Nobody is above the law. All are equal in the eyes of law. Everybody, with respect of its caste, class, creed, sex, without any discrimination, every person who has opened in his eyes, whether he is a black or a white or any kind of color he is possessing, or any race he is possessing, or any caste, class, creed, or he is belonging, he is equal in the eyes of law. The law, here we say that we need the independence of judiciary. The independence of judiciary, we mean it is the concept of the needs to keep the independence of judiciary. Here we mean to keep the law, keep the judiciary away from other parts of the government. That is, judiciary should not be under the influence of the legislature, neither it should be under the influence of the executive, nor it should be under the influence of any political activity. Here we can say it is a form of private or the partisan interest. We have to keep it away from the private interferences. We have to keep it away from the partisan interests. Likewise, independence of judiciary is based on the moral representation of powers. Here we can say the provisions in India, the judicial independence in India, we can say that the judges, how one can say that in India that the judiciary is independent. As we know, the Supreme Court, the judges as well as the judges of the high courts have the security in their tenure. As we know, in respect of judges, when a judge is appointed, he is possessing the qualifications, he is appointed, his job is having the security that he will never be get removed from the office unless and until there are not proven charges, there are not proven misbehavior, or there is not proven that he is incapable, there too by the majority, 2/3 majority of either house of the parliament, or it has never happened. The judges remain there in the office till the judges of the Supreme Court remain in the office till they attain the age of 65 years, or what we call the age of the retirement, and the age of these high court judges is 62 years. So another thing, how we can say that the salaries and the allowances of these judges are fixed and they are not subject to the vote of the legislature. As such, they do not have any threat that these allowances or their wages or their salaries will be cut down, will be curtailed during the financial emergencies, and they are being charged, their salaries are being charged out of the consolidated funds of the India in respect of the Supreme Courts and in respect of High Courts. The consolidated funds of the states are utilized for the salaries and the allowances and the wages of these judges. Likewise, under Article 125, clause 2nd, we have that the emoluments cannot be altered during the financial emergencies whenever there is the Article 360 is imposed within the state, or whenever the state is declared under the financial emergency, these their emoluments cannot get suspended. Likewise, Parliament cannot add. Likewise, Parliament can add to the powers of the judges or the courts, but cannot curtail any of the powers of these courts. So we can say that we are having free and fair on this judiciary. Judiciary can also punish any person for contempt of court under several provisions, under several articles. The Supreme Court judges as well as the judges of the High Court can punish those persons who are found guilty or who are having any kind of contempt of the court. Likewise, why we need the independent judiciary? What is the cause behind it that we need independent judiciary? As we know, the judiciary acts as a watchdog. It acts as a watchdog that all the organs of the state are working or performing their duties in accordance of the law, in accordance of the acts, in accordance of the constitution. None of the organs is doing beyond the constitution. The judiciary is not independent. If the judiciary is not independent, the other organs of the government, that is legislature or this executive or any other political organization, or the people who with the influence, they can pressurize the judiciary in order to get their goals, or in order to get their demands, or in order to get their verdicts in their favor. As such, the judiciary has been kept away from any kind of political or any kind of social or any kind of this political or economical influence in the society. Judiciary is exempted to. It is expected that judiciary will deliver the rule of law in accordance the justice, in accordance the rule of law, in accordance of the judicial justice, not the political or the committed justice. So when we think that we will get the justice in accordance of the social justice, so we need to keep this judiciary away from or other influences. It ensures the rule of law, as the rule of law is for everybody, that nobody is above the law, all are equal in the eyes of law. So we can say it protects the rights and the freedoms and settles the disputes in accordance of law. The main task assigned to the judiciary is to solve the disputes in accordance with law or within the provisions of the constitution. It cannot go beyond that. So it focuses on that there should be the cohesion within the state, within the people, within the living these humans. So they need to have a cooperation, to have a minimum rule of law. Everybody should respect the law. Nobody should treat himself above the law, or nobody should treat himself that he is close to the law. So that's all about this class. Thank you. Have a nice day.